Before 2024, getting a German citizenship implied for many to renounce to their old citizenship, and a lot of people didn't want to do this. Additional to that, it was a big hurdle for some, and sometimes even impossible. On January 19th, 2024, the German parliament changed this. They passed a new law, well, an amended law that allows people to have multi-citizenships, meaning you don't need to quit your previous citizenship and you can apply for the German citizenship a lot quicker. In this video, we're gonna break down what are the specific new changes and their benefits, when does the law come into effect, will children born in Germany receive the German citizenship, how do you apply, what are the costs, what are the processing times, and what are the benefits of being a German citizen. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. So let's start with what are the specific changes and new benefits.
So in October 2022, we have already released a video about how to become a naturalized citizen in Germany and what are the steps and requirements. So let's look at those, because they're kind of like the old requirements, and see what has changed and what are the new requirements. So here's the old list of requirements. And already with number 1, we have one of the massive changes, because it used to be 8 years that you need to be living in Germany legally to apply for citizenship. That has been reduced to 5 years. In the media, of course, 3 years is also a big topic, and that is true. Previously, there had been a way to reduce the 8 years with certain achievements. This time around, with the new amendment, there's also a way to reduce 5 years to 3 years, and there's 2 main criteria that you need to fulfill. 1, most likely you will need to provide a C1 German language certificate and some extracurricular achievement, whether that is in school because you attended in Germany, in your job, or because you're volunteering in Ehrenamt, that's the German word, for example, with the voluntary firefighters.
Wow, and I would say a C1 German, I mean, that is pretty hardcore in 3 years.
Again, you need to prove that you really are ready to become a German citizen, and language is one key factor.
Yes, but it's important to highlight as well that the C1 is just if you apply after 3 years.
Correct.
Right? Requirement number 2 remains the same, which is to declare allegiance to the German Constitution. And now it includes a specific commitment to Germany's, I need to read this, special historical responsibility to the peaceful coexistence of people and the prohibition of waging a war of aggression. It's pretty much kind of like a peace commitment as well.
Yes.
When I got my German citizenship, the first part was true, which is declare allegiance to the German Constitution. And the way I did that is before I received my citizenship, I had a conversation with an official person and they asked me a question. It's kind of like a marriage, you know, do you accept this? Yes. Do you accept this? Yes. And at the end, I had to sign a document. So I could imagine it's a very similar process.
And that was not during the application stage, but literally just before receiving the official naturalization certificate.
Yes.
Number 3 also remains intact. You still need to have no criminal record. And additionally to that, there is particular now attention to whether you have been related to any anti-Semitic, racist, or other inhuman act. So if that is the case, you are not eligible for German citizenship. And this aligns also to the new commitment to the Constitution that in Germany everyone is welcome and we don't discriminate against anyone.
Requirement number 4 is important if you're applying after 5 years, and that is to have a B1 German level. So you need an official certificate that states that you passed the B1 exam, and that is enough to prove your fluency.
Number 5 is also still accurate, and that is you need to prove your ability to support yourself and possible dependent family members financially, meaning you cannot be on social support from the government.
Number 6 remains the same, and that is that you need to have a valid residence permit for Germany.
You need to be here legally.
Yes.
Number 7 also still remains the same. You need to pass the German citizenship test. And there's 2 names for it. There's the Einbürgerungstest as well as the Leben in Deutschland test. And they're both the same questions and format.
Yes, and this test you need to study around, how many questions was it, like 200?
I think 300 something.
300 and something questions. However, in the test, only 33 are there and you need to pass 17 of them. Very good, thank you, to be able to pass that test. Number 8 also remains the same, and that is that you need to be 16 years or older to apply independently for the citizenship. If you're below that age, then you need to apply through an adult.
And number 9 is one of the other major changes with the new law, and that is that you no longer need to renounce your current citizenship. That means it's not just dual citizenship that is now possible, but generally speaking, multi-citizenship. So you can also have 3 citizenships. It's perfectly fine. You no longer need to renounce. And that is a massive change because some nationalities actually renouncing, which is technically possible, was super, super difficult and sometimes even meant you put yourself in danger. Others were super expensive, and for others it's just also an emotional thing, right? So number 1 and 9 are the 2 massive changes of the amendment of the law.
And now to the big question is, when does this law come into effect? We are recording in January 2024 and the law has passed, but it has not yet come into effect, right?
Correct, yes. And today is the 29th of January, and I just checked this morning that the law still has not been published. So what do I mean by published? It needs to be printed or digitalized in the German Federal Gazette, where all the laws of the democracy are being published. And only once that happens, from there onwards, 3 months later, the law will take effect. So the publishing date is still unknown because there are a few other steps that need to be taken. You can watch our video about how laws are made in Germany to learn what these steps are. And experts estimate for the law to come into effect May, some even say June. I mean, if we think about it now, end of January, so we have February, March, April, so that's definitely gone. So May is really the earliest if everything is fast now. Potentially June, it really depends.
However, you do not need to wait for the law to come into effect to apply for your citizenship. The thing is that applying for citizenship takes time. So you first need to get a consultation, gather all the documents and the application. It needs to go through the approval process and so on. So if you apply now and you get your citizenship after the law has passed, then you're good. Has taken effect, then you're good and you can have multiple citizenships.
Yeah, I would say it's more or less guaranteed if you apply now that you will only receive it after the law has come into effect, because it will take probably more than 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And a very important question a lot of internationals have is, will children receive a German citizenship if they're born in Germany?
And that depends on your status as a parent. In the past, your children, if they're born in Germany, would only receive German citizenship by birth if you or one of the parents had been legally a resident in Germany for 8 years. That has also been reduced in correspondence to generally achieving German citizenship to 5 years. So if one of the 2 parents has been living in Germany legally 5 years, then the children or the child will receive German citizenship by birth. Of course, also if one of the parents is a German citizen already. However, it's important to state that in this case, the law does not work retroactively. Meaning if a child is born tomorrow, the law is not in effect yet and the 8 years still apply. So this reducement in time will only apply to children that are born after the law actually took effect.
If you're finding the content of this video helpful, then please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to go the extra mile to support Simple Germany, you can always buy us a virtual coffee at simplegermany.com/coffee. Thank you for your support. Another big question is, how do you apply to your German citizenship? And the answer is, it depends.
Well, not really. So you need to apply with the immigration office. That is a fact anywhere. However, the it depends refers to the process of applying. We've researched a little bit in depth some of the bigger cities, and there are some differences. For example, here in Düsseldorf, you first need to have a phone consultation where they will check your individual case, whether you fulfill the requirements, and which documents you actually need to present. You will then have to gather those documents and send them in via postal mail. Oh. You will only be asked for a physical, like a personal appointment, to actually submit your biometric data, like your photo, your fingerprints, your signature, and so on.
This is a new process for Düsseldorf because when I applied for my German citizenship, I had to go in person to this appointment, and I sat with a person and they explained to me face to face the things that I needed. So now it's a phone consultation, which is quite interesting, I guess.
In Berlin, for example, they have been working hard in the past months to create a central immigration naturalization office. Before it was neighborhood by neighborhood. Now it's all centralized and they accept applications only digitally. So it's best that you Google your city plus Einbürgerung and then you will find out what applies for your city. It's super important though.
Yes, I wanted to say it's super important that however you apply, when you present your documents, try to make the job of the person receiving the documents as easy as possible. If you need to send them digitally, then name each document, ideally with your first name, last name, maybe even date of birth and the name of the document. If you're going to send them through snail mail, then also make sure that they're in the right order, maybe highlight the name of the document, put copy if something is a copy. Remember that the person receiving this is receiving a lot of applications, and the easier they're able to grasp what documents are there and what are missing, I believe the faster your application can be processed.
your keyword there was missing. Ideally, don't miss anything. Because in the past, when we had physical appointments, they could tell you this is missing, go back home, make a new appointment. But now, since you don't have a direct feedback loop, it could take, again, days or weeks for you to even know that something's missing.
Or months.
Yeah. So really double check that your application is complete in what they require from you in the previous consultation. Because everyone might have different documents you need to submit. For us, it was a rental contract or a confirmation of the landlord that you were under my rental contract back in the day, your health insurance confirmation, a German CV, and there it really just doesn't need to be your CV you apply for a job with, but just a very simple CV in German that outlines your kind of like career, your past life in that sense. We do have a template in our online shop if you'd like to quick start that step, and there might be other documents that you require.
If you want to get that template for the German CV, you can find the link in the description below. How much does it cost to get a German citizenship? And the answer also, I think it depends. It depends, again, on how many translations do you need, how many pictures are you taking for passport, are you applying alone or for family members? I will give you the example of how much I paid to give you an estimation, or Pi mal Daumen, as the Germans say, so you can have an idea. So back in 2020, when I applied, here are my costs. The fee for the application is 255 euros, which
that is still the same.
Remained the same. My criminal record was 13 euros. The naturalization test was 25 euros. For translations, I paid 68 euros. And if I remember correctly, the only thing I translated was my birth certificate. I had to take 2 passport pictures, and for that I paid 20 euros. The application to the passport was 60 euros, and this in 2024 has changed. It now costs 70 euros to apply for a German passport.
If you're older than 24 years, because there's a cheaper price if you're younger, because it's valid only for 5 years. And if you're 24 years and older, it's valid for 10 years.
Good point. And to apply for the Personalausweis, or the German ID card, it was 37 euros. So back in the day, in 2020, I paid a total of 478 euros. If you had the 10-year difference, if you're above 24, then it would be 488 euros. So calculate 500 euros, more or less.
Exactly. I double-checked all the other prices, and they're all still accurate to this date.
So what are the processing times? How long does it take to get your German citizenship?
Very good question. And of course, what we're going to answer now is our own opinion and research. We cannot guarantee how long it takes for you. Generally speaking, applications for German citizenship should be faster than before, because you no longer need to renounce your old citizenship. And this, the renouncing part, usually took a lot of time, sometimes even half a year, because the German government needs to communicate with the government of your home country, and it's a whole back and forth kind of thing. Now with this new amendment of the law, of course, a lot more people living in Germany suddenly all at once qualify or are eligible for naturalization. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone will apply for it, but it's just a lot more possibility for more people applying.
More demand.
More demand, yes. Experts estimate that the applications will rise by 2 to 3 times. Now, the immigration officers are, of course, taking steps to be ready for more applications in general. For example, by no longer having personal consultations, but by digitizing applications, by doing phone consultations. Those are all steps to become more efficient. They will still most likely take longer than in the past. And again, here, experts estimate for an application to take around 2 years. That is just a very general estimation. I mean, again, back in the day when yours took 1.5 years, we knew of other people where it took 3 months, where it took 6 months, where it took 1 year, and where it took 2 years. So it's really a highly individual case-by-case scenario.
Yes, and maybe a very detailed thing to point out, but as far as I understand how the immigration office works, your case is assigned by the first letter of your last name. So of course it is with one immigration officer, and I think it depends on the workload on that person. I mean, if you have a last name with a Z, maybe you might be in luck because there's less Z people.
That's just guessing, yeah.
But anyways, patience is key, I think
exactly.
Is what we're trying to say.
Patience is key, meaning the time frame that you're eligible has been reduced, but maybe that will actually not come into effect that you will get the citizenship also faster. I mean, 5 plus, let's say 2 years wait time is still 7 years, is still faster than 8 years plus 1.5 years wait time. But just be patient and just don't make any plans based on having the German citizenship too tight to your application date.
Once your citizenship is approved though, I don't know, I think I still remember the day when I got the letter when it said your citizenship is approved, here is your termin, your date to go pick it up. Unfortunately, because it was during COVID, there was no special ceremony with fireworks and everything as I imagined it. Kidding, there were no fireworks to begin with. But I remember back in the day, people had told me that here in Düsseldorf, the immigration office has small ceremonies to give the citizenship kind of like in public to the new citizens. And now after COVID, they want to implement that again, right? So that's pretty cool. So in my experience, I went to pick up my citizenship paper or certificate in an official office where I spoke to a clerk, and she was super cute. When she handed me the paper, she was very nice, and she said like, oh, herzlichen Glückwunsch, which means like, oh, good luck, and
congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, yeah, true. And she was super nice, and I remember I had a little bit of a tear in my eye, and it was a very emotional and exciting moment.
Yeah.
In that moment, important to point out, you receive the certificate, then you get a piece of paper that with that piece of paper, you can go apply for your passport and ID card. So you get your citizenship, but it still takes a few weeks until you actually get the passport and ID card.
Correct. And that paper that you get in that appointment is just a fast track to apply for your passport and German ID on that day in the Bürgeramt, so at your citizen's office. Because usually for that you also need an appointment, and this kind of paper is a waiver to need an appointment. So
this was our experience. I don't know if this happens in other cities as well, right?
Correct, yeah. But if you do get it, highly suggested to use it that day, because otherwise you could wait again weeks to get actually an appointment for an ID and a passport.
Yes, and again, to emphasize, receiving your physical passport and ID card would take maybe around 3 to 4 weeks. There's a fast track also that you can pay to get your passport quicker.
More expensive, yeah.
More expensive, of course. And then you can go pick it up, and then that's it. And what are the benefits of becoming a German citizen?
Well, number one, I would say it's the possibility to be able to shape this country. You are able to vote, and that is a crucial right to be able to take impact in the future of the country.
Another one is more possibilities to travel freely. For example, I have also a Guatemalan passport, and with that passport, I need visas for a lot of countries. But not only that, I have realized while traveling with my German passport, I get treated differently actually, especially in the US borders. Back in the day, I was scrutinized a lot and asked a lot of questions with my Guatemalan passport. Now I show my German passport, and the other day an immigration officer even spoke German to me, like super chirpy, like, oh, this is the words I know about Germany. Asked me, where are you staying? Bam, sealed in. So I do feel a massive difference of traveling with the German passport than I did with the Guatemalan one, which is crazy, right? That the world is divided in such a way.
It is, yes. And additional to not needing as many visas is also that you can leave Germany for more than 6 months without needing permission beforehand, because typically on a permanent residency, 6 months is the maximum you can leave the country. And I mean, as a citizen, you can leave for however long you want and still re-enter whenever you want as well without any problems, as long as your passport is valid.
Yes.
You also have the possibility to become a German civil servant, and Beamter, if that is the way you'd like to go.
And the massive perk, which for me has been like amazing, is that you no longer need to go to the Ausländerbehörde. Yeah.
They have one customer less.
Yes. So that's amazing. With the new passport, of course, I had to learn how to navigate patriotism in Germany, because patriotism here is very different to how it is in my home country of Guatemala. If you want to know how Germans, in our opinion, see Germany, you can watch our video on patriotism here on the left. Until next time,
Tschüss!
Bloopers. She said oh, I hate saying that word. Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Herzlichen, okay. Oh, herzlichen, oh, I can't say that.
Of course you can.
Herzlichen. Oh, herzlichen Glückwunsch.